Hey guys, welcome to STA Next Gen. I am Jabu and I'm here with
10.
Okay. So yeah, welcome, and today we're going to be talking about loss and grief, something that I think all of us have experienced because of COVID. So yeah, I think it's also a relatable topic. As I said, like, it's something we've all experienced because of COVID, and I think I'm not going to speak for other people, but it's definitely something that I'm battling with because I've actually realized I don't have a healthy coping mechanism for both loss and for grief. So today is just basically to air out this topic, to unpack it, and really just to create a conversation around what loss and grief is. And yeah,
also to like hear it from another young person's point of view, because when we talk about loss and grief, we usually hear it from like an adult's point of view. Oh, don't cry, or do cry, or this is what I do. But we've never actually, I don't think I've seen any like resources of other young people who have voluntarily sat down and say, okay, this is how we're going to talk about loss and grief, this is what I've been through, and this is how it's probably going to show up in your life as a young person.
Yeah. And I think also, like, just an observation, I think with us young people, going back to the point about not having a healthy coping mechanism, our outlets can tend to be more negative and more detrimental to one's health. So I mean, not speaking for myself, but one could like turn to different forms of substance abuse, alcoholism, and basically in an effort to sort of mask this grief, or to cope with this grief. So I think we're going to get into the more technical side and just get a dictionary meaning of what loss is and what grief is, and then we'll see. Hopefully we don't cry, but we do have tissues on standby if it happens. And don't judge, because this is a safe space. According to your dictionary, loss is the damage, trouble, disadvantage, deprivation caused by loss, by losing something. And grief really is the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior, and that definition is given by the grief recovery method. So I mean, yeah, how would you define, I think let's just start with loss. Yeah. What's your definition of loss?
Just as a basic thing, loss, it's just the act of losing something. Loss is something, it's like the feeling you have after you've lost something. Yeah, just, I don't know how to explain it, but that's just what I feel. And grief is usually like the process of coming to terms with your loss that you've just experienced, but also trying to find healing. I feel like that's grief. Grief is just you're grieving, when you just lost something, you have that pain in your heart, and you're just going through the motions, is what I think grieving is.
Well, for me, I would say, and again, there's no like wrong or right answer, because I mean, loss and grief it's subjective, and it's unique to each person's experience. I think for me, loss is the absence of something or someone, and so grief, I have a similar definition to yours about what grief is, and I think I also do think that grief is heavily rooted in healing, and it's a process. For me, that is, it's a process. It's I would say it's, I don't know, an involuntary act of coming to terms with something. Involuntary in the sense that you don't necessarily get over the loss of something in a day or in 30 minutes or whatever the case is. So yeah, lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's what I would say it is. And I think, like, with COVID, I quickly realized that loss is just, it's not just the loss of like a person, it's the loss of like a lot of I hope I pronounced it right, innate things I didn't pronounce it right?
Yeah.
So
things.
it's the loss of routine. It's the loss of definitely life, because I feel like I think we all know someone who has lost someone due to COVID. It's the loss of self. It's loss takes on many different forms, and that's something that I realized very quickly. When COVID, I don't say when COVID started, but I could say when the lockdown was first imposed in South Africa, that's what quickly became apparent.
Like, I think also in terms of the different things being lost, like the loss of like freedom to like move around. You're now almost like caged in your house, and you kind of can't go out. And for people who are privileged enough to have a backyard, you can go outside, but you still have that feeling of like being caged in. The loss of not being able to interact with your friends like you used to. Like, you used to go out whenever you wanted to go and hug and kiss and do whatever, and now you can't even see your friends. You just have to like stick to video calls. And sometimes that just isn't enough.
It isn't. I feel like a video call only does so much. There's so much joy that comes. I'm not an affection person, but there's so much joy that comes in having to touch a person, receiving a hug, even on the most like unexpected day, just to also so like technology can only do so much.